is the future.
Today's video is brought to you by
Hey guys, welcome back to the FE32 presented by Fiberglass. Today we're making our first mold.
This is the future.
So what are we doing today, you might ask? Yes. We're prepping the front end to do the first set of molds. And to do that, we need to add flanges, if you will. So I have, this is some slightly thicker aluminum that's really annoying to cut. I hate cutting aluminum. I have an entire sheet of really thin aluminum that we can just cut with snips, and it's really cheap. So we're gonna go ahead and use the hot glue gun over there. Snip some pieces, hot glue some flanges in, kind of describe what we're doing as we're doing it. But and then we'll take some of this, I forgot what this clay is called. It's like some fancy French name. You can get it at Fiberglass website. It's got a higher temperature. They also have other versions of this, but we're just gonna use a bunch of this clay, fill it in wax, whatever you wanna call it, and gloop it in there so you don't have any hard edges that can get your mold mechanically locked to your plug, and then you got a bad day.
Making noodles.
Making noodles.
Not chop the plug.
How thin you want to use?
It's a pasta. That's probably good enough. I'm gonna put it in half here. Yeah. Well, this will also be nice because like later, if it like starts to kind of get locked in here, we can just like rip this out from the back.
Yes.
Just pull the clay out.
You will have really strong forearms by the time you're done. Like, damn, my man Tim look like Popeye the Sailor Man. Like, what workout he do? Baby, I just use shears all day long.
Baby, I've been making flanges. Should I name this open house? Or should I name it spring meat?
Yeah, sure, spring meat, please.
Dude.
What are you working on here?
The Street Bandito Spring Meat Flyer. Trying to figure out what we're gonna do with food, how we're gonna do entries, because I feel like we might be able to park up the whole block, depending on how much we push it. So it's like, do we have to have like a limited number of cars? Do we have like entries where we like review people's cars before letting them in?
No. Streets waiting, man. Streets waiting. Don't tell too much.
Yeah. Well, the streets will wait until I figure out this flyer, but it'll probably be done by the time this video is posted. So, yeah. So look at this sick design I made. This is gonna be our T-shirt. It's only gonna be available at the meets. Watch out for the fiberglass. This is gonna be a T-shirt design. I just put it in the background of the flyer. I don't know. Trying to figure out what we're gonna offer. I think I'm gonna bring my simulator here. We're gonna try to finish Tim's simulator before this. And maybe since I'm on video, I can coax Xavier into getting windows for his computer. Yeah, so we're trying to figure out catering, what we're gonna do. We got cornhole. I don't know. We got basketball, but we can't play basketball because other people's cars are gonna be here and they're gonna be fresh. He's back! Thank God!
I'm back. I took your AirPods by accident. I thought I took my AirPods in today.
It's really about to rain when I get in here.
It's getting real drippy up in here.
Dude, it's like coming through the middle of that bowl.
Phalanges, people, phalanges.
Don't you just love this process?
It's very time consuming. So the reason we put this bad boy here in there, we're gonna do actually this whole front end in 3 pieces. So the main piece that we're doing right here is going to be, we're gonna flange this across to here and across down there. So we're gonna do this side here and the other side as well. So the reason we're putting flanges on it though is because we need a spot to like just dead end and like stop the mold, and then once this mold's hardened up, we'll pull the flange material off, and then the new flange will be the negative of that, so the part of the new mold. So it'll butt up to the next piece. That's how you do like a multi-piece mold on any part. And you can even put like little dowels. Some people make like little pyramids of clay, and then they'll like boop them on there, and then once you pull it out, then it's a negative pyramid, and then once you make the new piece, it's a positive, and they lock together, and they got little tabs. And then you can drill holes through them and get them to bolt together, and we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Look at all those cans. Is that Tim or the Tin Man?
All right, so a day later, and we're ready to make our mold. So just a quick recap, we used hot glue and glued on all these thin aluminum flanges.
Looking real futuristic.
Yeah, looks pretty cool. And then we took the wax that we had and we seamed everything. So where the pieces connect, you could see it would have wrapped around here. So all we did was fill this with wax, and then we just scraped it straight across. So all of this is a nice transition, but it doesn't wrap in, because then you'll mechanically lock. This whole mold's gonna slide this way. If it was wrapped around the corner, it would stop us from being able to pull off, and we might get our mold stuck on our part. I am kind of risking it a little bit with this part line that I put in the hood and right here in the front grille, because we're gonna try to slide it that way. I'm just hoping it's rounded out enough. I'll be able to pump some air in here.
Pop it out.
That's a risk kind of that we're taking right now, but
They say no risk it, no biscuit.
exactly. So after we flanged everything, I hit it with another coat of wax. You should definitely use the high temperature wax, since we are going to be throwing this in a post-cure oven. Fiberglass sells the 4121 is the part number for their high temperature wax. Do 3 coats of that. It takes a while between coats. You have to let it dry and like haze up, and then buff it back off. But we'll go back over that again when we do the actual pre-preg parts out of this mold. And then we just PVA'd it, sprayed it on, 2 coats, fairly heavy, medium coats, and including the flanges and everything like that. So nothing too crazy here, but what we'll essentially do is we're going to make this mold using the pre-preg materials, which we'll go over in a second, and then what we're going to do is remove these metal flange pieces, and the flange of the actual mold will be here now, right? And then we will make the next piece of mold will come up against that flange. So these will all be flanges together where we can like drill holes through them, run bolts through them, so we know that everything lines up. And then we'll end up making these parts separately in each of the molds, and then bolting them all together, and then bridging them together with some carbon strips and stuff like that. So we'll go over all that in detail later, but just want to give you the big picture. Now we can start on getting some surface coat on this stuff. Okay, so today we're going to start with 1096. Comes in a part A and a part B, which is essentially like the hardener with this epoxy. It is a high temperature surface coat, which is like similar to like a tooling gel coat type stuff. But for pre-preg, you need stuff that's going to withstand high temperatures, like 300 degrees and up. So you can technically get away with like 270 degrees, but this stuff is exactly what you want. It's nice because it dries a little faster than some other brands, which might take like 4 hours to dry in between surface coats. But this is actually my first time using 1096, so we get to learn together. Like always, I call Fiberglass and I double check. If you ask for Michelle, she's the goat there. She knows everything. So ask her before you make huge mistakes with expensive products, if you don't really know. Or you can just watch this video. We'll hopefully hit the nail on the head, but we'll see. You want to start with measuring out your 1096. I've been told you can use a brush or you can use a spreader, and it's similar to like a thinner body filler. So I might use the spreader just because that's like natural and makes sense to me. Because of all my years in doing body work here at the shop. And you mix, I believe it's 100 parts of part A to 12 parts part B, which is like the hardener. And when you open the 1096 part B, it does have this little thing that says cut this out. So you can cut it out, but what I like to do is get little some pliers, just pinch the corner without destroying the threads of it. You just pop the whole boy out. Little pro tip there for you. See how much I can mix at once. The scale is not the best. It's accurate, it's just slow though. That might be about the amount I can mix. I'm gonna make a little trough, a little note, if you will, in the center here, so I can pour the hardener in here. Okay, it's only 10. My problem is I have to mix this. We're doing such a big mold, I have to mix this in a big quantity, and these mixing boards are not made for quantities this big, so I'm probably pushing limits here. I'm about to abandon this idea. Go right into a cup. So I'm going to continue to do this backwards and now put it back on this mixing table. How much light body filler is this? Yes. It does feel just like it actually. There's spread Evercoat metal glaze. This feels just like that. So we want to make sure it's even and consistent. And then we also want to look for air bubbles. This already looks really good actually. The other brand stuff that we had tried in the past, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to shit talk anybody. Like as we were brushing it on, we were getting like tons of air bubbles, and it actually ruined the mold we made. So we won't be doing that again. But toffee.
So what's this cure process like?
So you wait like about 5-10 minutes between each layer, and then once your final layer is done, you wait 30 minutes, which it's been about a freckle past a hair. So.
Can I help in any way? No thanks. Plank already went for help. He'll be back around a freckle past a hair.
So now we have to wait, you said what, 30 minutes?
30 minutes. It's been 3.
And then what?
And then we add carbon and 3000 high temp industrial garage.
So the key to everything is high temp chemicals
Yeah.
with carbon fiber versus like the cheaper epoxy and fiberglass method.
Yeah. Well, this epoxy is comparable to like the 2000 and stuff like that we've been using. Oh, but
Okay.
yeah, so other molds that we were using polyester resin, which is the cheapest of resins, composites resins that are used really. And yeah, fiberglass, which is like, you know, a third the cost of carbon usually. And then also the gel coat is cheaper. So everything about this is a little more expensive, but the reason you want to do this is, one, it can withstand high heat, and then 2, at that temperature, you don't want it to expand and contract like in a different rate than the pre-preg is going to. And also, like if it starts warping, it'll move your whole mold, and then while you're baking it, it'll warp. Your part will bake in the wrong shape, and then when it cools back off, it'll warp back, but your part will be dried in the wrong shape. So that's a problem. So that's why you use carbon fiber to back the mold for structure instead of fiberglass, because carbon fiber is gonna, with this resin, is gonna move, it's gonna contract and expand at the same rate as pre-preg, which is just carbon fiber with its own resin already impregnated. So. Okay, so the 2 coats of the surface layer are on. It's now tacky. You want to get to the point where you can leave a fingerprint, but it doesn't stick on your glove. At 75 degrees, which is about in here, exactly 75. It takes about 30 to 45 minutes, which is actually pretty fast. The other brands that we were using, they were taking, what was it, like 2.5 hours between coats?
Yeah.
You can't even, so this was 5 minutes between coats. And then it was a couple more hours before you could actually put the surface layers on. But fiberglass stuff, it's been awesome so far. It was a little thicker than the other brands, which was actually really nice because I got a really thick, even-ish layer around all this stuff. Using the spreader definitely helped. You couldn't really use the spreader in like all the like really intricate areas, so I probably laid it on even thicker, but that's fine. When you're capturing these small details, having a little bit of extra resin in there will make your mold a little stronger, which means that it's not gonna like crack off or something like that when you're taking it, like demolding it. So, all good stuff. I'm really impressed with this product so far. We're gonna go ahead and get into cutting some 3K carbon, and then we're gonna do the 3000 series high temp epoxy, and back this with a layer of 3K, and then we're gonna back it with 2 more layers of 12K, and I'm hoping that should be a good medium, like middle ground. If we take this off and the mold seems a little too flexible, I might just add another 12K on top of that and make it 4 layers total. But for right now, I'm gonna start with 3K. The reason we start with 3K is we'll get some more of the details. It'll get into all these creases a little better than 12K will. Because we're not vacuum bagging this mold. You could if it was really super detailed. But we're gonna hand lay it up, 3K, 2 layers of 12K. That's she had an angle.
Don't worry, guys. This is the final layer of carbon fiber.
This is what it's gonna look like.
Nice, perfect seam. So you know where it ends. The hood is going to split open from right here.
And an alien's gonna come out. All right, so now that we're on to laying the carbon up, we're going to start with our system 3000 high temp epoxy. This gets mixed at a weight ratio of 100 to 18, which is slightly different than the surface coat. And this is a 120-minute epoxy cure, so we'll have plenty of time. A lot of the 2000 stuff that we've been using, we use the 60 minutes, so this is literally twice as long. So it's heavy.
Real Breaking Bad status right here.
Give me my minerals. I might have judged this.
We've been here since 9. Well, I've been here since 9:30, and he was here before I was here.
8:30, dog.
A full day. Damn. Ain't do one of these in a long time.
I've been doing these every day. Dude, my form is like on fire. These scissors are, I think they're gonna be retired after this. This is our last piece of our last layer. We probably have more like 3.5 coats on here, but it's very nice. I was able to use a lot of the scrap carbon from this bin of scraps that I've been collecting for a while.
And this is all just for the mold.
Yeah. This is not a part we're keeping or anything like that. It's just the mold. But I'll have a nice mold. So anybody else wants a weird crazy powered or whatever? Oh. FE32. Hit me up. Everyone also go spam Aaron Beck's Instagram and tell him he needs to make like a NASCAR powered F132 off of these molds. I'll make him new side pod molds to match his old render or whatever he wants, but convince him. I'll make him a body. He just got to do the rest. I'm so tired. This is a big mold though.
Yeah. It is a fairly sized proportion you did in one day.
Yeah, it's like almost like a third of the car, but not really. This is one out of, let's see, 2, 3, 4. So we got the nose, like the grill section, underneath the front half, underneath the back half, the sides, the back, both halves of the roof, the inner door sill area of that side, and possibly I might split the sides into 2 pieces, add even 2 more. Then we still have a diffuser, rear wing, both elements of the front wing, rear end plates and the side pods.
Fair share of work.
And the
cut out.
doors, inner and outer doors.
Summertime.
And the whole interior.
Yeah, let's say summertime's about to get brutal.
And the headliner. And the dash.
And you've seen this process. It's been real repetitive today. I don't think I need much more B-roll.
The same shit.
The scale has officially been destroyed.
Yeah, the scale's fucked. It's still weighing stuff though, so that's
Man got his
what's up.
fingerprint.
You can't even read the buttons anymore. Yeah.
When you in the zone, you in the zone.
That's true. Okay, so we've got all 3 layers of our carbon on here with the 3000 high temp epoxy. Now we just need to let this sit overnight, pop it off, and then we need to throw it in our oven to post cure. But we'll go over that in a minute.